Hi guys, it's Dr. Pam and I'm here with this week's burning question. And it goes a little something like this. Dr. Pam, why does my dog have a padonkadonk butt? You know what I'm talking about. It's when the waist gets a little thicker and we lose that little tuck. And then the little fat pads that form on top of the low back on either side of the spine. And as you travel down the bottom or the rump, you notice that there's fatty deposits that often look like rolls, and the tail seems to sink into that, much like a little pig. And you ask your vet, what do I do about this? I need help. And your vet gives you RD or WD or another food that is a veterinary diet that helps them lose weight. And while your dog poops a lot, they don't either lose weight, or if they do, they're even more unthrifty. The coat gets dry, the color starts to get dull, and they start shedding a lot, and they don't have the energy that you would think they would with having more weight loss. What's the deal? What are you missing? What is going on here? Have you ever considered that maybe there are some types of weight gain that are not about calories, not about fat? That in actuality, it's a multifactorial issue. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the multifactorial nature of digestion and then segue onto a heavy-hitting gland that's super important pretty much every system of the body, right? But is very rarely talked about by your veterinarian unless it's diseased. So we'll probably have to divide this up into 2 videos so they don't get too long, but let's get started. The digestion is a lot like a symphony. And what I mean by that is there's many different instruments and they're put into sections. And how these sections operate with one another, the timing with which they come in, how they play, the synchronicity that occurs in that, create a beautiful masterpiece at the end. But if your drums come in a beat too early, or the violins are out of tune, or you have an oboe that's sharp, or something along that line, then the totality of the piece is affected and it's no longer a masterpiece. And sometimes it can be painful to listen to, right? The digestion is very multifactorial like that. It's not just about the digestive biochemistry, which I know we talk about a lot, and because I love it and it's important, but it's only a piece of the totality. And there are many different systems that are reflected in digestion. And it's amazing because the whole body really plays a role in some form of the digestion, in some aspect, tangential or not, okay? So you have the endocrine system, the hormone system plays a huge role. You've got the neurologic system playing a big role with the enteric nervous system, sending impulses to the brain to make the brain do certain things in the body, right? You've got the circulatory system that moves things around, right? Your blood system. And you've got the immune system, which is super, super important in the gut. It's called the gut-activated lymphoid tissue. It is a huge heavy hitter in the gut, and digestion affects its ability to function, and it affects the ability of digestion to function. So it's very interrelated. So when you have digestion, it's a total body event. It's not just one thing. It's just not one system. We learn them in pieces so we can understand it, but it's how it all goes together. Now, the thing that I want to talk to you the most about today is that the hormonal action is one of the biggest pieces of digestion. And if I were to ask you, hey guys, what organ or what system or what gland secretes the most hormones in the body, what would you say? You might say the thyroid, or the ovary, or the testicle. That makes sense, right? But in actuality, it's the digestion. 20 of the 50 hormones that circulate in the body are made in the digestion. And the other 30, there are many of those, many, that actually have an action at the gut lining level. So it's, again, a total body event. And one of the hormones that we're going to talk about today is a piece in this padonkadonk butt thing, okay? It's not the totality, but it's a big piece. And we never talk about it unless you're in a holistic veterinarian's office. And this involves the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are big, heavy hitters in pretty much everything. I have a profound respect for the adrenal glands. And the big thing is that if you think about adrenal disease, you think about excess being Cushing's, low being Addison's. And you hear about those, maybe not all of you, but some of you have heard about those. But there's this whole in-between phase. So if you have a bell curve, right? And the bell curve has the extremes right here. And you have your Addison's disease and you have your Cushing's disease, too much, too little, okay? There's 90% in the middle called adrenal dysfunction. Now, adrenal dysfunction simply means that the adrenals are not performing optimally. Some are, but most are not. And there's many things that actually impact that. And food choice is one of them. Spaying and neutering is another. Those are big hitters as well. And the adrenal glands have a huge action in everything. And a lot of people say, oh, my dog might have thyroid disease because he's fat. Well, adrenal gland issues or dysfunction predates thyroid disease. Thyroid's kind of the last guy to fall. I know we supplement it, but in actuality, it's sort of down in the cascade. And adrenal gland dysfunction comes first. So when you look at a dog that has fat deposition over the back and also over the rump, that's very much an adrenal gland pattern. Doesn't mean we have disease, but you do have dysfunction. And so the body can't operate in a synchronicity, in a very well orchestrated event, right? That total body event we're talking about. So this is a big deal because we live in a high stress society. We get things now. I mean, we don't wait for anything. We hardly stand in line anymore without tapping our foot and I've got so many things to do, right? I'm guilty of it too, right? So this is one of the reasons that we talk about Monday Inspiration on the Facebook page, because we want you to take a minute to stop and breathe. Well, guess what? Your dogs need that too. And while you think that your dogs rest while you're at work, the amount of impact that your lifestyle and your stressors have on your dog is huge, and your cats. We don't see this quite as much in cats because they have a different cycle, but we'll see it a lot in dogs. And there's some dogs that we see more than others. You see this a lot in little dachshunds, and you see them in poodles. Think about that padonkadonk butt in poodles. And so there's a lot of dogs that they have a more geared to, but I've seen it in Pyrenees, I've seen it in border collies, I've seen it in every breed that there is. So we need to talk a little bit more about adrenal glands, but I can't do it today because this would go on for an hour. So I'm going to stop you right there and say, what I want you to do is I want you to go home and I want you to look at your dog. And I want you to see if you see any of these signs. In fact, look at everybody else's dog when you go walking and see, oh my gosh, do I see this? Do I see that? And then meet me back here next week and we'll talk just a little bit more. Okay? Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks. Bye.